I want you to look at something right now. Think of some major goal you want, or maybe it's one you're already working on and you have experienced a lot of setbacks, a lot of defeats. You've experienced a lot of disappointment. Maybe you've already given up, and maybe you just need a little fire, a little encouragement to get back in the game again. Here's what I want you to look at. There are winners, and there are losers, and there are people who have not discovered how to win. And all they need is some coaching. All they need is some help and assistance, just a little support. All they need is some insight or a different strategy, a plan of action to make some adjustments that will open up the key to a whole new future for them, that will give them access to the unlimited power that they have within themselves. That's all that they need. So what I want you to do is think about something you want for you, that's real for you, that's important for you, that will give your life some special meaning and power. And I don't even want you to say, I can do that. I don't want you to assume that. See, 5 years ago when I started out in this area, I would not have been able to make the mental leap that I would be up to where I am right now. I don't want you to begin to just psych yourself out. No. I want you to be able to say something to yourself that will enable you to maintain a level of integrity with yourself. That when you say this, even when you face tremendous setbacks, it will be a benchmark to keep you in the game, to keep you moving forward and experimenting and readjusting your strategy and your plan of action, continuously looking for ways to win. So what is that something? When you got an idea you want to move on, you might not have the money, you might not have the education, you might not have the support or the resources you need. What is that something that can keep us going, that will enable us to act on our dream? What's one of those keys that will begin to help us to discover the secrets to our dream? Here's what I want you to repeat after me, please, with power and conviction. Say, it's possible. That's all I want you to do when you look at your dream. Just say to yourself every day, it's possible. Just say that every day to yourself, it's possible. Because what does that do? See, it begins to change your belief system. See, the way in which we operate, ladies and gentlemen, it's a manifestation of what we believe, what's possible for us. Whatever you've done up to this point, all that it really is a duplication, it's a reproduction of what you believe subconsciously that you deserve and what's possible for your life. Most people operate out of their personal history, out of their memory, things they've done, things they've experienced, things they've seen, things that they have observed. What I'm suggesting that you operate out of a larger vision of yourself. I want you to see yourself doing what you want to do, experiencing what you want to experience, having what you want to have, doing what it is that gives your life some meaning and value. Operate out of your imagination, not your memory. Because whenever you look at where you want to go, I'm wanting to warn you, you will have some conversation back here after you go through the data that you've experienced in life saying you can't do it. And so what you want to begin to do is ignore that inner conversation. Well, most people, ladies and gentlemen, when something happens to them, what they do is they begin to believe that that's the way it is. That's the way it's always been. And they can't see the possibility of it being any different. Example, before April 1954, the common belief, the universal belief, because it had been tried again and again and again and people had failed, the belief was that man was not physically capable of breaking the 4-minute barrier, that he could not run a mile in less than 4 minutes. That was the belief on the planet. It had never been done. But here's what happened, ladies and gentlemen. Roger Bannister came along, and he broke the 4-minute barrier. Now here's what's significant about that. Since that time, up to this day, over 20,000 people have done it, including high school kids. What changed? 20,000 people, what changed? Here's what happened when they got on the track. They knew it had been done. And because they knew it had been done, there was a new belief about this barrier. about this goal that was unreachable. And those 20,000 people got in the race believing, knowing in their heart that someone had done it, that it's possible that they could do it. And I'm saying that if you know anybody that had some goal, some dream, something they wanted to do, and they did it, then I'm saying that you know in your heart that if someone has done it, then you can do it. It's possible. And that if someone can make their dream become a reality, that it's possible that you can make your dream become reality. And so as you begin to look at where you want to go, beginning to embrace that, it's possible. I'm blessed and highly favored. I've got a lot going for me. I got some good stuff in me. And it's possible that I can bring my greatness out here in the universe. That I can do what I want to do. It's possible I can write my own book. I can have my own business. I can take the trip and travel around the world. It's possible. I can bounce back from adversity and reinvent my life. It's possible. Regardless of where I am, the things can get better for me. It's possible. I'm thinking about two men right here in Chicago who are fairly successful, similar background, educated. They worked for a corporation for many years, and they were among many people that were laid off. Two guys who were very good friends. One went out looking for a job for several weeks along with the other one, and they faced disappointment and rejection again and again and again. They couldn't find any work, which is the story of many people across this country. One guy stopped. He became discouraged. He stopped going. He stayed home looking at television, became very argumentative and toxic with his wife, drinking beer, getting on the phone, talking to his other negative, unemployed friends. And he just gave up. The other guy kept looking for a job everywhere he could go. Every time he could get an opportunity, kept asking people, networking, checking the newspapers every day. Kept going everywhere he could, trying to find a job. You have too much education. You're overqualified. You won't be here long enough. He kept going. He kept going. He went to a place and said, look here, I tell you what, if you can't hire me, and I know you can use my talents, abilities, and skills, I don't want to sit home and do nothing. Just let me do some volunteer work. You don't have to give me anything, all right? I just want to work. I want to be busy. Guy said, okay, it's on you now, but don't expect me to give you anything. It's okay. This guy came in and worked. He was the first one there. The last one to leave was the best employee there. About 4 weeks later, one of the top managers quit. They were looking for a replacement. Guess who they selected? This other guy. This guy who was volunteering his time. He got the job. What was the difference between the two men? Eyesight and mindsight. Eyesight is judging on what you see. Judging according to appearances. But mindsight is how you interpret what you see. One guy said, it's not possible. It's over. I'm finished. I can't do it. I can't make it. He surrendered. I've faced rejection again and again. I'm not going anymore. There are no jobs out there. But this other guy, he felt that in spite of the no's and rejections, in spite of how bad the economy is, in spite of what the newspapers are saying, that it's possible that somebody somewhere will give me a job. He just kept going, thinking it was possible. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's what we have to do with our dreams. Because things happen to you in life that you can never, ever anticipate. And many times when those things happen, you want to give up. I remember when I was in broadcasting, when I was a disc jockey, I became very controversial, not only being a disc jockey, but I felt that radio was something that you not only entertain people with, but you also empower them, you educate them. And I got fired. I didn't just leave, they fired me. That was a shock. I said, wait a minute. They took my microphone. I thought that was who I was. No, ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't. I had to do something else. And I didn't know what else I could do. See, here's what I'm looking at. what are the uses for your life right now that you haven't even reached for yet? See, I believe that when you don't have enough encouragement to act on your dreams or ideas, or you're not enlightened enough, that life will act on you. See, life had moved on me and said, Les Brown, you have outgrown this. It's time for you to do something else. Well, I wasn't enlightened enough. I organized some disc jockeys and got my job back. So they had to fire me again. I got fired twice. Here's what I did. I had to think of something else. And so a guy suggested to me, he said, Les, why don't you run for office? I said, man, I never run for office. I've never known anything about how to operate in the political arena. I've heard encourage people to register to vote and get out to vote, but I don't know anything about politics. He said, neither do the people who run for office all the time. So I ran. Now here's what I'm suggesting. I ran. You got to do what you can where you are with what you have. I didn't have any money. I didn't know anything about the political process. I didn't even have any support. But here's what the guy told me. It's possible you could win. That's all I had. I was running against an endorsed candidate. He was an incumbent. He had the newspaper support, all of the leadership in the community, and I was challenging this guy. So I had a saying when I was on radio, stand up for what you believe in because you can fall for anything. And I would go door to door. I have my kids on one side of the street. I would be on the other, and I'd knock on doors. Hello, my name is Les Brown. Tell everybody I'm still standing. They get on the phone. Child, Les Brown was to my house today. You know the boy on the radio with the big mouth? Yeah, they fired him out here. Say he's still standing. See, I'm saying just keep moving. Don't start feeling sorry for yourself. Don't spend time blaming and talking about what happened to you. See, whatever you talk about, that's what you multiply and expand in your life experience. So don't talk about stuff unless you want it to keep on happening to you, all right? So I got in that kind of action. As I continue to do that, had my children with me, were going door to door, didn't have enough money. Eventually, we got close to the election and something happened that really surprised me. Guys who I thought were going to either support me or stay out of it, various powerful community leaders, they became involved in it and they endorsed my opponent. I felt devastated. Now that's going to happen to you when you're working on your dream. Things are going to happen that's going to catch you on the blind side. That was shocking to me. They didn't have to do that. All they had to do was just stay out of it. But here they go, come up in there messing with me. Now that's going to happen. There's some people who believe it's their personal business to stop you from living your dream, all right? But I didn't deal with that. You want to make your dream come true, you got to stay focused. Some people rather get even than get ahead. Stay focused on where you want to go. I just kept on doing what I was supposed to do. And so I was driving to the radio station. My opponent had over $20,000. I had less than $800. As I was in the radio station, the guy said, "You're going to make a commercial?" I said, "Yes." He said, "It better be a good one because that money can't go pretty far here." And I sat there in the middle control room and I was thinking. And here's what happens when you get still. Stuff will start coming. Something said, call your mama. You used to talk about your mother on the air all the time. Ask her to say a few words for you. That'll be a different kind of political spot. So I called my mama. And I had a gospel record playing in the background. And then I had my mother say, "Hello, this is Mrs. Mamie Brown. When I raised my sons, I raised them to be good children. When they got out of hand, I beat them behind and made them go right. Please vote for my son. He's a good boy." Usually in the state representative race, maybe 3,000 or 4,000 people will come out to vote in a primary. In that primary race, over 27,000 people came out and voted and said, "I'm voting for Les Brown because his mama said he's a good boy." I won, ladies and gentlemen. I won. you've got to be willing to stay focused, to be creative, to be relentless, because things are going to happen to you when you're working on your dream, when you get on track. I remember when I first got involved in speaking, one of the main things that speakers like to do is speak to a certain association that they have over 10,000 of their sales reps that come to this convention. And I was relentless. I kept saying, it's possible. It's possible. See, what I want to let you know and set you up for, because you said it's possible, don't mean that you're not going to have any problems. That Murphy's Law, he going to come and slap you side the head. Oh, Murphy going to come visit you. He's waiting for some of y'all out in the parking lot. Oh, you say it's possible. Okay, it's possible. You better get up. Well, I was working. I kept saying it's possible. They got other speakers on this program. I can be on that program too. I kept selling myself. I got all fired up. And I was calling them every day. And the lady finally said, Mr. Brown, I tell you what, we want you to come in and talk to our sales executives. You got the kind of fire and guts that they want, that will motivate them. And let me tell you something else. We want you to bring your motivational tapes. You're going to need at least $50,000 worth of tapes. I said, is that right? Yes, because they want to keep that drive alive. I said, all right. I called the guy to duplicate my tapes. I said, Don, how you doing? This is Les. Let me tell you, I got a major speaking engagement. I said, man, it's a speaker's dream. I need over $50,000 worth of product. He said, Les, you don't have that kind of credit. I said, I know, but Don, I can sell that. Just right after the speaking engagement, I'll give you your money in 4 days. He said, are you sure, Les? I said, yes, but I got a major speaking engagement, and they told me to do it. He said, man, that's a big offer. Let me talk with the lady with you. I said, hold on just a minute, man. Call the lady back. Hello, Evelyn, how you doing? This is Les Brown. I got Don on the phone. What did you say? Do I have the speaking engagement? Yes, you do. And what else you suggest? Les, our people, they buy a lot of tapes. Your tapes are very popular among them. I'm saying bring at least $50,000 worth of tapes, Les. You'll sell everything you got and more. I said, did you hear that, Don? He said, yes. I said, now, if anybody else has to make a decision, are you the final person? She said, I'm the final person. I will send you the contract. I want you. I said, you hear that, Don? He said, yes. I said, oh, ye of little faith. I said, duplicate the tapes, man. Hung the phone up. Well, he duplicated the tapes. 1 week came by. I'm checking the mail every day. No contract. I said, come on, Murphy, don't start nothing, man. Come on. Come on, man, give me a break. Come on, you know, this ain't fair. Come on, man. Give your boy a break. Come on. I talked to myself, you know. I didn't want to call him right now. 2 weeks passed by. Murphy said, don't you think you ought to call him? I said, okay. I called. I said, hello, this is Les Brown calling. How you doing, Les? I said, fine. I said, Evelyn hasn't sent my contract out yet. Any additional information you need? So, Les, you haven't heard? I said, no. I said, Evelyn died. I said, she died? I said, did she say anything about me? When I got home, I was so wiped out. And Murphy was in the house waiting on me. Murphy said, is it possible you want to listen to some of your tapes? But ladies and gentlemen, here's what I had to do. I had to begin to focus on what was the solution. That this was not the only place that I'll be able to sell those products. And as I began to challenge myself and got some help and support and some other input, I eventually did. It took longer, but it was challenging. But I did it. Repeat after me, please. No matter how bad it is, or how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. Shake somebody's hand on your right and left and say, you got that right. Repeat after me, please. It's possible. I can have my dream. I can get what I want. I must be creative and never give up.
What do you think has been the greatest skill you've developed over the years? Is it the ability to overcome adversity? Is it the ability to use your words? What is that skill you think that you possess has given you so much greatness?
I think it's a combination of both. One, mental resolve. I think that everybody needs that, because when you have goals and dreams, there will be resistance. An airplane cannot fly without the resistance of air. Walt Disney filed bankruptcy 7 times and had 2 nervous breakdowns. That when you have goals and dreams, the book of life says, think it not strange that you face the furnaces of this world. You will, not you might, you will have tribulations. So the ability, when you are faced with something, and it's new territory, when they said, you have cancer, those are 3 words no one ever want to hear. And the oncologist, Dr. Alfred Goldson, who was an unusual personality, he said, you have cancer, and it's metastasized to 7 areas of your body, including your spinal cord. I said, can you give me a second opinion? He said, yeah, and you're ugly too. I know you didn't just call me ugly. He said, yes, I did. You ugly now. And we both were laughing. He said, but you got this. We determine the diagnosis. God in you determines the prognosis. You and God determine that. You got this. What I learned from that enhanced my speaking. When you laugh, the mind shuts down and the heart opens up. I left there with a confident feeling in my heart. I got this. When he spoke it, I felt it at this cellular level. I did not leave there feeling fear. He was so good with making you feel comfortable with whatever you're dealing with, that you are not in denial, you just are defiant. And so when your show, which has changed millions of people's lives, people you never meet, what it does is distract, dispute, and inspire. How we live our lives is a result of the story we believe about ourselves. What you do is distract them from what psychologists call their self-explanatory style. And through the process of your own example, your own vision of yourself, the guests that you have, the interviews that you have, you dismantle their current belief system. Be ye not conformed to this world. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You are renewing minds, expanding their vision beyond their indoctrination and mental conditioning. And you ignite their spirit where they decide to create a new chapter in their lives. That's what you do as a speaker and as a host. And people who watch and listen to your program right now in America, before the coronavirus, suicide rate increased by 39%. And children between 5 and 11, it has tripled. How do you decide at 5 to take your life? And now it is soaring, the suicide rate. So what you do with this program, you're giving people hope. When there's hope in the future, that gives a person power in the present, that they can get through it. They might not know how they're going to do it, but they have the mindset. Robert Schuller said, tough times never last, but tough people do. And so that you share with them a voice of transformation, because, and I share this with speakers that I train, who you are behind the words that you speak are more important than the words. Because had you not gone through what you have gone through and experienced, you would not be able to speak from a place of power. You would not be able to come in and do this program and call this the school of greatness, that you've got greatness in you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. And then affirm and validate people as we are facing this pandemic. It's to be able to say that from a place of power. The spirit of who you are comes through your words, and people feel that when you speak. and they hear your sincerity, your genuineness. And that's why your program is popular, because you impact people, because you know a thing or two, because you've seen a thing or two.
I appreciate that. It's interesting you talk about suicide rates increasing. Unfortunately, I was going on a drive to San Francisco over the weekend, taking my girlfriend up the coast of California, and she'd never seen it. Had a beautiful experience. And as we're driving back into Los Angeles, I live in a condo building, a tall condo building. It's probably 35, 40 stories high. And as we pull into the building and we're about to park, I see police with a yellow tape and a white tent and over the kind of driving area. And I remember just thinking to myself, there's no way someone jumped off this building. There's no way someone did this. And I asked right away, I go, tell me someone did not jump. And the guy looked at me and he just said, yeah, a couple hours ago. And I go, you're kidding me. And I later found out it was reported in the news. This was yesterday. Yesterday. This just happened. Wow. It kind of shook me up a little bit too. And literally, I learned that the person who jumped, who's my building, was literally right next to my window, a few floors up. He jumped out of. His name is Steve Bing. It's all over the news right now. And this was a very successful businessman who, 55 years old, I think. I think it was reported he's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. A very successful businessman who is close friends with Bill Clinton, who I saw Clinton made a statement about as well. And I haven't been able to stop thinking about it since yesterday. I was thinking about it all night. You said it was hard for you to sleep last night from stuff you saw. For me, it was hard for me to sleep last night thinking about the pain and the suffering that people go through inside that we may never know about. And, I was trying to rationalize, like, why would this happen? Was it drugs? Was it depression? Was it, like, I can't reason sometimes why this happens to someone who you think it would never happen to, or someone who had all the things on the outside that seemed to be successful, but for whatever reason, I don't know. And I don't know how to make sense of that type of stuff. Do you know how to make sense of things when you see that?
Well, I had a guy, he just wrote me, and I kept this text where he had tied a noose together. He was going to hang himself, had it around his neck, and he was going to get a chair. He's trying to look a place where he could suspend himself and place the rope. And the phone rang. And he had said to himself, God, give me a sign. So with the rope around his neck and holding in part of it in his hand, he answered his cell phone, and there was nobody there. And he took that as a sign, and he said in that moment, he was listening to me, and he remembered a statement I made that life is God's gift to us, and how we live our lives is our gift to God. And
wow.
He said, he asked himself, why would I throw my life back in God's face? I was talking about the fact that we were chosen 1 out of 400 million sperm, that you are a masterpiece because you're a piece of the master. And he said, I kept saying to myself, I'm a masterpiece. I'm a piece of the master. And he talked himself back from those suicidal thoughts. He really didn't want to die. He wanted to stop the pain that he was experiencing from the breakup of the relationship, from the loss of his job, from what he felt his life had the rug snatched out from under it. He's among those 40,500,000 people who have lost their jobs in the coronavirus economy. And so that's why what you're doing is so important, because when you go through an experience, you have the school of greatness. Not elementary school, high school, college. No one is saying to people, you have greatness in you. In those type of structures, even in church. And so the reason that I advance with that, the Book of Life says, greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. that you have greatness within you. That when Mr. Leroy Washington, who, when I was so captivated by this man's oratorical skills, he was a speech and drama teacher, and he asked me to do something. You know the story. He wanted me to go before him and read a script really before the class. And I said, sir, I can't do that. I'm not one of your students. And he said, do what I'm asking you to do anyhow. I said, I can't, sir. And the other students started laughing, saying, he's Leslie. He's got a twin brother, Wesley. Wesley is smart. He's DT. And he asked, what's DT? He's the dumb one. And I said, I am, sir. He said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And he did that. I was startled. Because my mother said, sticks and stones can break your bones, but words can never hurt you. But words can hurt you, and very deeply. And when he said that, someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. I remember going to my next class, and between classes, I kept saying that to myself. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. As I was going home, at what they think about me, I don't have to be that. It's not what they called me, it's what I answer to and what I call myself.
Dang.
You know, that was an interrupting moment.
Wow.
That's how the program is it's a disruptor, more powerful than Corona.
Ooh, I always love hearing that story. That story never gets old for me. Yeah. And how did you learn to overcome the opinions of others, but I think more importantly, the opinion of yourself? Because if we have the program, we have, I am the dumb twin. Yes, sir. I am learning disabilities. I am this. How did you personally overcome your own biggest enemy?
He was a voracious reader, and he gave me a book, James Allen, As a Man Thinketh. That little pamphlet is a powerful little pamphlet. I've read it a lot. And The Power of Positive Thinking by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. I read that over and over again, and other motivational books, Secret of the Ages by Robert Collier. And so reading those, he said, if you want to become successful, number one, develop your mind. And he was a fan of Earl Nightingale, that you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. The strangest secret in the world. I've listened to that so many times, I've wore it out. And then the other thing he said, develop your mind. Next thing he said, practice OQP, only quality people. Surround yourself with people that you can learn from. People that have more than you. People that will help you to grow mentally and emotionally and financially and spiritually. And the next thing he said, which is the master key to opening up new worlds for you, is your ability to communicate. Because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. And I believed him, and I followed that. I never forget, when I was in Poland, and I was in this stadium, and I saw my name up, and people started chanting when they saw me coming through the tunnel. And I said, Mr. Washington, this one is for you, sir. You know, he's gone. He's been gone. I eulogized him. I said, I'm going to make you proud today, because it was my first time speaking in Poland, you know. And so, but I so admired him. I've never known my father or birth mother, but that the ability to connect with people that are strangers to you and can create a shift in their lives and how they see themselves, to have that sacred opportunity to share your story and distract, dispute, and inspire them to realize, as the play Lion King, Simba, you're more than that which you have become. That's what you do every day, up in here.
I remember last time we talked, you said you wanted to really leave a legacy by teaching other people how to speak and communicate better, and you were creating a select, smaller group. I think it was either 50 or 100 people that you wanted to train and speak. Are you still doing that? Because I had a friend who was going through the program with you or hired you, my buddy Judd. So I didn't
Judd,
know.
I know Judd. That's my dude. That's my brother from another mother.
Exactly.
Yes, man, from Australia. Yeah. Yes, I'm training, but I've had to increase that number. I do intense one-on-one training, but I'm selective about working with a lot of people right now. But we do it virtually now. I can do it more virtually.
Yeah.
Because you don't want, I'm 75. So I cannot afford with underlying issues of diabetes and cancer. And 75, if you show up at the hospital, they'll push you in a coat over there and say, no, you're about to leave here anyhow. So we're not going to waste any medicine on you. So I'm staying out of harm's way. I'll tell you how bad it is, Louis. I'm upstairs by myself, right? I sneezed. And man, I broke out and I started running downstairs. I said, wait a minute. That was my sneeze. So I came back upstairs and I still started spraying the lights off. I called my daughter. I said, I think I'm having a meltdown. I want to go out the house. She said, no, you can't go anywhere other than Walgreens and Publix, and we will drive you there. You don't need to be behind the wheel. I said, I'm not that old, so I'm being very, very disciplined and keeping myself out of harm's way.
That's good. That's good.
Keep my mask.
That's good.
Doing all the stuff that we need to do. Common sense.
The next thing that's important to know, yes, it's possible that you can choose your future and direct the course of your life as you run toward your dream. It's necessary that you have goals, that you write those goals down, that you plan, that you think constantly of how you can begin to improve what it is that you're doing. If it's your presentations, if it's your recruiting skills, whatever that is, it's also necessary that you look for ways to always find a way to pull it out when everybody else thinks that you are defeated. That you've got to take personal responsibility to know that in order to become successful, you've got to make it your personal business to do it. But the next thing, ladies and gentlemen, I want to share with you that some of you already know that it's hard. It's not easy. It's hard changing your life. It was hard when just over 3 years ago in the Penobscot building in Detroit, Michigan, where I was operating my business, and I fell on some hard times, and I was sleeping in my office. It was hard coming into the lobby, and the security said, excuse me, Mr. Brown, can we see you for a moment? And I said, yes, and I walked up to the counter, and he gave me an envelope. And he said, would you mind reading it here? And I opened the envelope, and the envelope was from management that said, this is an office tower. It's not a hotel. Please do not sleep in your office. And I said, excuse me, sir. I said, I just work long hours in creating my business. I'm an entrepreneur. And right now things are bad for me, but they're not going to be this way always. And I just asked for the opportunity to continue to operate like I'm doing. I'm not trying to make this my home. And it was hard coming through the lobby. And sometimes they would laugh. There's a guy talking about becoming successful. And look at him. He's bathing in the bathroom upstairs on the 21st floor. He sleeps on the floor. Him and 2 other dreamers up there. Look at him. It was hard, ladies and gentlemen, coming to speak to people. And I was facing financial difficulties in my own life. I was behind on my bills and my dreams, and I'm saying to them, you can live your dream. It was hard, ladies and gentlemen. It was very difficult to pick myself up each day believing that I could do it. There were times that I doubted myself. I said, God, why is this happening to me? I'm just trying to take care of my children and my mother. I'm not trying to steal or rob from anybody. Why did this have to happen to me? It was very hard. And here's what I want to say to you. For those of you that have experienced some hardships, don't give up on your dream. No one could have convinced me by holding on, by continuing to push forward, by continuing to run toward my dream, that one day I would have my own talk show. It's a long shot, ladies and gentlemen, from Liberty City, an abandoned building on a floor, never knowing my mother or father. It's a long shot. Being here with you today in this dome in Atlanta, it's a long shot. No college training, labeled educable, mentally retarded, but I kept running toward my dream. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop running toward your dream. It's very important as you hold on to that dream. There are moments when you're going to doubt yourself. There are rough times that are going to come, but they have not come to stay. They have come to pass. It's very important for you to know that. Don't say I'm having a bad day. Say I'm having a character building day. It's very important for you to believe that you are the one to make this happen. I remember this high school teacher, Mr. Leroy Washington, at the end of school one June, it was just a few days before we were supposed to leave, and I just got my report card, and it indicated that I'd failed history, and I'd failed English, and I would have to go to summer school. And I was feeling within myself that I was a failure, that I'm slower than most people in getting paperwork, and I was feeling down on myself and very negative. And Mr. Washington was giving a speech to the graduating seniors, and I was in 11th grade. And even though I wasn't supposed to be in there, I went in there because the speech he was giving, that speech was for me. And as he talked, my heart began to beat fast. Tears began to run by my eyes, and I was in the back just listening to him, because he said, and he was a very dramatic man. I still talk to him to this day. He said, as graduating seniors of Booker T. Washington High School, I want you to know that you're blessed and highly favored, and that as you go toward the future, begin to know that you have greatness within you. And if just one of you here begin to envision yourselves as being blessed and highly favored to reach your goals, if just one of you capture the essence of what that means, that you have greatness within you and a responsibility to manifest that greatness, that you can make your parents proud, you can make your school proud, you can touch millions of people's lives, and the world will never be the same again because you came this way. And the students gave him a rousing standing ovation. And as he left the auditorium, I ran down the steps and I caught him in the parking lot. I said, Mr. Washington? He said, yes. I said, do you remember me, sir? He said, no. I said, my name is Leslie Brown. My mother, she works in the cafeteria here. I'm one of the twins, Leslie and Wesley. I said, Mr. Washington, but you know, I got these big dreams. You know, I like talking to people. I love people. I said, I want to work with people, and I got this dream of buying my mama a home. Could I do that, Mr. Washington? He said, it's possible, Mr. Brown. And as he walked away, I called him again. I said, Mr. Washington? He said, what do you want now? I said, I'm the one, sir. I said, I'm the one. You remember me, sir. I'm Miss Mamie Brown's boy. I'm the one. I'm the one. And you must feel that. That's why you're here. Because you are the one. And I remember when PBS first played one of my specials called You Deserve, one Sunday afternoon in Miami, Florida. I had some friends call him to tell him to tune in. And he watched the program. He called me in Detroit, and I answered the phone. I said, hello. He said, may I speak to Les Brown, please? I said, who's calling? He said, you know who this is. I said, oh, Mr. Washington, it's you. He said, you were the one, weren't you? I said, yes, sir. He said, and you were so crazy. I said, I know, but I'm rich now. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not going to be easy. It was hard laying on the floor of the Penobscot building, looking out of the window, daydreaming, saying, Les, can you do this? Can you make this happen? I used to listen to tapes day in and day out about See You at the Top, my great friend Zig and Dennis Waitley and different other motivational speakers, and Dr. Norman Vincent Peale and Dexter saying, don't let nobody steal your dream. I used to ask myself, can I do this? And something said within me, you're the one. You're the one. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. While you're here, and before you go back home to your respective cities and communities, write down at least 5 reasons on why you deserve your dream, on why you won't give up, what's going to make you unstoppable, why you must be unreasonable, because logical, practical thinking says you can't do it today. But if you want to produce unreasonable results in your life, like living your dream and taking charge of your destiny, you've got to be an unreasonable person. You've got to be an uncommon person. So write down the reasons of why you're here. My first major goal was to buy my mother a home. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. What will reasons do, Les? Nietzsche said, if you know the why for doing, you can endure almost anyhow. What do you mean by that? If you know why you're doing something, when the hard times come, and they're going to come, when the disappointments and the rejections come, and they're going to come by the truckloads, your reasons will be your rod and staff to comfort you, to pick you up. Once again, I got a saying on one of my tapes, if life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. Let your reasons get you back up. I remember when I bought the home for my mother, and she came out of the car. When I opened the door, I said, Mom, I think I know these people in this house. That was my first major goal. And then I couldn't conceal it anymore. I said, Mom, I got this for you. And as she went from room to room, looking at the house and saying, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. No one ever could have convinced me that this could have happened to me. And she looked at me and she said, Leslie, and you caused me so much problems as a boy. You were always into stuff. She said, no one could have convinced me that day when I walked in that house and this lady was holding you and your brother. And she said, ma'am, I want you to promise me 2 things. And she said, what is it? She says, 1, promise me that you won't separate them. She said, I want them raised together. I want them to know each other. I got pregnant while my husband was away in the war, and I can't keep them. Promise me that you won't separate them. She said, I promise I won't. I've never had children. I promise I won't separate them. And she said, promise me that you'll never tell them about who I am, because if my husband ever found out, he would kill me. She said, I promise. And she said that she gave them to us, and she kind of cried, and she was walking out the door, and she looked at my adopted mother. She said, remember, don't you separate them. She said, I swear to God, I won't separate them. I'll keep them together. And she said, as I held y'all in my arms, I never had any children of my own. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I knew with the help of God, I would do it. And ladies and gentlemen, my mother had a dream of having children and raising us. She didn't know how she's going to do it. You're going to be just like that. And some of you are already there. Well, you don't know how you're going to make this happen, but you just feel within yourself some way, somehow, with the help of God, I'm going to make it happen. Repeat after me, please. No matter how bad it is, or how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. Shake somebody's hand on your right and left and say, you got the right stuff. So yes, it's possible for you to live your dream. It's necessary that you associate with winners, that you work your system, that you are relentless, that you never give up. It's you. You've got to take personal responsibility. You've got to make it your personal business to make it happen. And you've got to resolve within yourself that I can do this, that it's hard, but you've got to say, I'm the one. I'm the one to make this happen. I'm the one to become successful in this business. As you work to help other people to become successful, that feeds your success. But you know it's going to be hard, but find out what will make it worth it for you. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to make your dream become reality, the people that are running at their dreams know that it's possible that you can live your dream, that it's necessary, that you're relentless, that you have a plan of action, that you are creative. The people that are living their dream are finding winners to attach themselves to. The people that are living their dreams are the people that know that if it's going to happen, it's up to them. And they're resolving within themselves, it's not over until I win. The people that are running after their dream know they're going to have hard times. They keep on running because they're saying within themselves, I'm the one. I'm the one. No matter how bad it is or how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. The people that are running after their dreams are the people that are hungry. Shake somebody's hand on your right and left and say, you got to be hungry. And as you run toward your dream, I want to dedicate this to you that I love very much. I want to thank Dexter and all of you. It's something that I'm known by. It's on our tapes called Choosing Your Future, and it says simply this, that if you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it, if all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, and if you gladly sweat for it and fret for it and plan for it and lose all your terror of the opposition for it, and if you simply go after that thing that you want with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope and confidence, and stern pertinacity, if neither cold poverty, famish or gulf, sickness or pain or body and brain can keep you away from the thing that you want, if dogged and grim you besiege and beset it, with the help of God you'll get it.